A girl named Kylie turned off the faucet with her foot, relaxing in the bath with her headphones on. She didn't notice the slimy alien slug creeping toward her. When she finally saw it, she screamed. The slug jumped onto her back, trying to crawl into her mouth. If it got inside, it would control her mind. She fought with all her strength and yanked it out just in time. She threw on her clothes and ran out, calling for help, but her mom was already infected, lying in a pool of blood. Then her sister started screaming. Slugs were everywhere, flooding the house. Kylie smashed open the bedroom door, but she was too late. Her sisters were already struggling. More slugs poured into the room. Kylie escaped onto the balcony, but the whole second floor was crawling with monsters. With no choice left, she jumped down. Just as she was about to get up and run, her father collapsed right in front of her eyes. Behind her, slugs rushed in like a wave. Kylie quickly jumped into the car, but there were no keys inside. She watched helplessly as slugs swarmed all over the vehicle. After what felt like forever, the danger finally passed. But Kylie soon discovered something even more terrifying. Her family had somehow come back to life. They looked monstrous, their bodies controlled by slugs. And overnight, everyone in town had become like the walking dead. What on earth was happening here? The story kicked off in Wheelsy, a quiet little town in South Carolina. The annual deer hunting festival was about to begin, drawing tons of tourists to the area. Stara was a young and beautiful teacher in town. When she taught classes, the boys rarely paid attention. After class, even the male teacher couldn't resist chatting her up. But suddenly a man showed up and forcibly took Starla away. That man was Grant, Stara's husband. He seemed rough around the edges, but he deeply loved Stara. One night, after an argument about intimacy, Grant stormed out angrily, heading straight to the local bar. There, a girl approached him and struck up a conversation. When Grant took a closer look, he realized it was Brenda, his ex-girlfriend's younger sister. They hadn't seen each other for over 10 years. As they talked and drank, their conversation soon moved into the nearby woods. It turned out Brenda had had a crush on Grant for years. They started kissing passionately, but Grant suddenly stopped at the critical moment. He thought about his wife, Stara, and said, "Stara will worry if I stay out too long." Just then, a meteor fell from the sky, landing right in the woods near them. As it hit the ground, it cracked open, revealing a strange sack-like object. Curious, Grant poked it with a stick. Suddenly, a sharp spike-like tentacle shot out and stabbed him directly in the chest. An alien parasite quickly entered Grant's body through the tentacle. Brenda screamed Grant's name in fear, but to her shock, Grant suddenly stood up again. He had become like a walking corpse, ignoring Brenda's calls completely. Then he turned around and left the woods without a word. Grant soon arrived home. After entering, he emptied the fridge of all raw meat and built a nest of leaves in the basement. The next morning, Grant was drawn to the living room by music. There he found Stara tightly wrapped in her bathrobe. As Grant approached, she slowly removed the robe, revealing sexy lingerie. Clearly, she wanted to make up for last night's fight. Though Grant was controlled by the alien parasite, he couldn't help shedding tears. Sadly, he had no way to warn Stara. At that moment, Stara noticed a wound on his body. Just later at school, Stara's colleague noticed how radiant and happy she looked. Excitedly, Stara shared her recent experience, remarking how her husband seemed like a completely different person. While Stara was chatting, Grant was at the supermarket, drooling over raw meat in the freezer. After a moment of thought, he bought every bit of meat the store had. When Stara returned home, she found the basement locked. Grant told her it was a surprise for her birthday party. Even though her birthday was still 2 months away, Stara had no suspicion whatsoever. Suddenly, Grant felt the creature inside him violently struggling. Clearly, the raw meat wasn't enough anymore. The neighbor's dog started barking frantically when it saw him. Grant stared at it with hungry eyes. That night, Grant's body changed even more dramatically. His craving for food grew stronger. Stara was in the shower, getting ready for the deer hunting festival's opening party. Controlled by the alien parasite, Grant approached Stara from behind, slowly extending 2 slimy tentacles. But right at that moment, Grant saw Stara's gentle face from the side. His love for her stopped him from attacking. "What are you doing?" "I got to go to work. Man's deer cheer starts in about an hour. I'll meet you there." Unable to harm Stara, Grant instead turned away, heading straight to Brenda's house. Brenda was shocked to see him. She said she thought he had died that night in the woods. But Grant didn't reply. Instead, he took off his shirt, revealing 2 terrifying tentacles coming out of his stomach. It was too late for Brenda to fight back. The tentacles pierced her body, implanting alien eggs inside her. Meanwhile, Stara waited at the party, but Grant never showed up. Instead, Bill, the town's police chief, approached her. The atmosphere quickly turned awkward. They had once dated, but Stara dreamed of going to Hollywood while Bill chose to become a cop. Eventually, they parted ways. When Starla struggled financially, it was the wealthy Grant who took care of her. In the end, Stara married Grant. After the party, Stara returned home to find the living room pitch black. Grant looked completely different, swollen and distorted. He claimed he'd been stung by a bee and had already gotten medicine from the doctor. But the next day, Grant didn't get any better. Worried, Stara called the doctor, who was surprised, saying he hadn't seen Grant in over a year. Obviously, Grant had lied. Stara began feeling uneasy. Later, she noticed that many pets in town had disappeared. That night, Bill showed up at her door again. They discovered Brenda had mysteriously vanished. Someone had seen Grant entering her house, and signs of a struggle were everywhere. Now Grant was the prime suspect. Stara couldn't believe her husband could do such a thing. Bill gave her his card, telling her to call immediately if she saw Grant. After Bill left, Stara's anxiety grew stronger. Gathering courage, she smashed open the locked basement door with a baseball bat. A horrible stench instantly filled the air. She bravely stepped inside, finding animal skins hanging everywhere. Their flesh and organs had been taken by Grant to feed Brenda. Stara quickly grabbed the phone to call Bill, but when she turned around, Grant was standing right outside the window watching her. Stara screamed in terror and tried to escape, but Grant caught her easily. "Why are you running from me, baby? I wasn't going to hurt you." Seeing Stara's frightened face, Grant believed she had betrayed him. He tore open his shirt, revealing the two tentacles again, intending to turn her into another host for his alien offspring. Just then, Bill heard the noise and burst into the house. Knowing he couldn't win this fight, Grant fled, leaving Stara behind. Grant's appearance caused big headaches for the town's mayor. Tourists from everywhere were coming for the deer hunting festival. If news of Grant got out, all those tourists would be scared away. So the mayor ordered Bill to catch Grant as quickly as possible. According to Bill's analysis, most of the recent animal disappearances had happened near ranches. Grant had to be collecting meat around the area. Bill figured they should set a trap at the next ranch that night. The officers immediately grabbed their gear and prepared to move out. Just as Bill was about to leave, Stara suddenly blocked their way. She told them she married Grant, not for his money, but because she truly loved him. Even now, she still believed Grant was simply sick. Stara begged Bill not to kill him. Besides, capturing him alive was their only chance to save Brenda. Reluctantly, Bill agreed to let Stara join the mission. That night, the police set up an ambush around the ranch. Even local hunters came voluntarily to help. While everyone was chatting casually, a shadowy figure covered in tentacles appeared. It was Grant. He swung a tentacle casually and instantly took down a bull. While Bill was trying to plan his next move, Stara rushed forward and called Grant's name. Even though Grant barely looked human anymore, she still hoped she could persuade him to surrender and get help. At that moment, officers slowly moved in around him. One hunter lost his patience and yelled threats at Grant in front of everyone's horrified eyes. The hunter's body suddenly split into two pieces. Bill immediately ordered everyone to fire, but despite Grant's huge size, easily dodged their bullets and disappeared into the woods. The group quickly chased after him and soon discovered a small house where Brenda was being held. But when they entered the room, everyone was stunned by what they saw. Brenda was horribly bloated and barely recognizable. Even in that condition, she was starving and begging the officers to feed her the rats crawling on the floor. Before Bill could recover from his shock, Brenda's body rapidly inflated and exploded like a balloon. Countless alien slugs poured out of her body. Thankfully, Bill reacted quickly. He covered Stara's mouth tightly, preventing the slugs from infecting them. But the townspeople weren't so lucky. Massive numbers of slugs rushed into the ranch owner's house, quickly infecting the entire family. Only Kylie managed to survive, trapped inside a car and trembling with fear as her infected family surrounded her. Meanwhile, Bill dragged the unconscious officers outside. There was no cell signal in the woods, so he planned to call for backup using the radio in his car. But just moments after he left, the unconscious officers suddenly woke up. They began speaking in voices identical to Grant's. Clearly, these alien creatures shared one mind controlled completely by their host. They tried to convince Stara to join their glorious evolution. Stara's gun was empty, so so all she could do was run for her life. Bill, who had gone back for the police car, rescued Kylie just in time from the monsters surrounding her. They quickly drove back, running into the mayor and Stara, who had just escaped the woods. As Bill drove them away to safety, he radioed the dispatcher at the station, asking her to call in heavily armed backup from higher authorities. But the alien slugs had already reached the police station. The dispatcher was infected the moment she hung up. Then Kylie shared what she'd seen in the slugs' memories. Combining this information with their recent experiences, Bill figured out that everyone infected became part of Grant. Grant's ultimate goal was to consume all life on Earth. They had to kill Grant, the original host, to stop all the alien slugs and monsters at once. Suddenly, they crashed the car. When Bill woke up from being knocked out, infected townspeople had already surrounded them. Bill didn't have enough time to save Stara, who was still unconscious. So he took Kylie and escaped back to the police station. He planned to get the grenade to blow up Grant. Meanwhile, Stara had been taken back home. Strangely, the monsters didn't harm her. Instead, they carefully washed and dressed her. The next morning, Stara woke up in her bedroom. If not for the monsters growling outside, she would have believed everything had just been a bad dream. Realizing there was no easy escape, she hid a sharp hairpin for self-defense. Suddenly, her favorite song started playing. Stara stepped out of her bedroom and saw the wall covered with her pictures. It was the birthday surprise Grant had prepared for her. Stara was moved to tears until she saw the terrifying sight in front of her. Grant had transformed into a monstrous blob of flesh. He reached out his tentacles, wrapping Stara up, trying to merge with her completely. Stara finally understood that her real husband was already dead, and the creature before her was just an alien parasite that had absorbed Grant's memories. Calmly, she began recalling sweet memories of their past together, slowly causing Grant to lower his guard. Then she suddenly stabbed him with the hairpin. Grant swung his tentacles, sending Stara flying across the room. Just then, Bill arrived with a grenade, but just as he was about to throw it, Grant knocked it from his hand. Bill desperately searched for the grenade, but as soon as he found it, Grant struck again, knocking Bill aside. The grenade rolled into the swimming pool and exploded uselessly. Grant's tentacles shot toward Bill. Bill grabbed one tentacle, but the other stabbed into his stomach, quickly pumping eggs into him. In this desperate moment, Bill noticed a propane tank nearby. Using every ounce of his strength, he jammed the tentacle into the tank's valve and opened it. Propane gas rushed into Grant's body through the tentacle. Grant immediately sensed danger, but Bill held the tentacle firmly in place. Stara grabbed a gun from the floor and stared deeply into Grant's eyes. Then, without hesitation, she pulled the trigger. Grant's body instantly ignited, exploding violently. With Grant's death, every infected slug and monsters collapsed immediately. Apart from the 3 survivors, almost no one else in the town was left alive. At the end of the story, a cat approached and started licking Grant's brain remain.